We are extremely grateful for the Beck Archives for keeping track of everything that's happened in the Jewish community since way, way back. And I'm very proud to be part of this and honored for what you're doing here and honoring me and my family today.
We're so very pleased that the Rocky Mountain Jewish Historical Society has included developers as honorees this year. They've done so much to help for the growth of this community, not just the general community, but also the Jewish community. So we're thrilled and we appreciate it.
Colorado was still an untamed wilderness when the discovery of gold near Pikes Peak in 1858 brought the area to the nation's attention. By the spring of 1859, fortune seekers began to arrive in droves. They used the rival infant camps of Denver and Auraria as jumping-off points. Jews also took part in the quest. And during the big excitement as the year of the gold discovery was known, at least 12 Jews of German descent migrated to Colorado to join in the hunt for freedom, new opportunities, and wealth. Jews who migrated to the American West in the late 19th and early 20th century encountered unprecedented opportunity as pioneer community builders who helped construct basic institutions. And from the beginning, Colorado Jews played a central role in the state's philanthropic, political, cultural, religious, and economic development. From Denver's earliest years, Jews were prominent in the development of a myriad of building projects, including homes and apartments, community and commercial structures, and even entire neighborhoods. From a few cabins on Cherry Creek in 1858, Denver grew to a town with a population of almost 5,000 people by 1860. 30 years later, it had climbed to over 100,000. Denver soon also became recognized as the central town in the territory, and frame houses soon began replacing crude log cabins. Even a few red brick business blocks began to sprout on the northeast side of Cherry Creek. But it was with the coming of the railroads, like the Denver Pacific and the Kansas Pacific, which really launched Denver on the path from a mining camp to a nationally recognized metropolis. Within a decade of its founding, life in the infant town of Denver became more civilized, and formal Jewish organizations appeared on the horizon. The Denver branch of B'nai B'rith, a philanthropic organization, was founded in 1872. And although the first Rosh Hashanah service was held in Denver in 1850, Congregation Emmanuel was not incorporated until 1874. One of its founders, Denver Jewish pioneer Louis Onfanger, became a well-known real estate developer, and Colfax Avenue and Broadway became one of the city's most prominent thoroughfares. One of the first Colorado early Jewish prominent builders was Abraham Judd, who immigrated to America from Lithuania and arrived in Denver in 1888. Abraham, a millwright and locksmith, was very active in the early immigrant Denver Jewish community. Later, as a developer and contractor, he built the first BMH synagogue. Because of his construction experience, he was instrumental in 1903 in helping the Jewish Consumptives Relief Society secure the land for its sanatorium. And he soon became the chair of the JCRS Building Committee. Abraham's son, Samuel Jud, was born in Denver in 1892. He was educated in civil and architectural engineering at the University of Colorado in Boulder. Samuel served as the chief of the structural architectural branch of design and construction at the Bureau of Reclamation in the 1940s, and as a Denver building inspector in the 1960s. He was active in the design of numerous Colorado pumping plants and major projects such as the Hoover Dam. Samuel also donated his service gratis to designing and building the first Hebrew Educational Alliance building on Denver's west side. And he also built the second BMH Synagogue building at 16th and Gaylord. He also rehabilitated outdated hotels and bought up old properties, like the Interstate Trust Building. Samuel's son, Jim Judd, continued the family construction business tradition. After serving in the U.S. Army 10th Mountain Division for 2 years, Jim received a degree in building construction from DU. He founded the Judd Construction Company in 1949 after completing his postgraduate work at CU. Among the many significant construction projects he was associated with were the 9th Street Historic Park on the Auraria campus, the Molly Brown House restoration, and the Grape Street Congregation Emmanuel. Jim served as past president of Historic Denver, the JCC, Congregation Emmanuel, and the DU Center for Judaic Studies. Of course, no buildings could have been constructed without the essential role of architects. Colorado has been the home to many talented Jewish architects. Victor Hornbein became the first Jewish Fellow of the American Institute of Architecture, followed by Alan Gass and Jim Bershoff. Fellowship is bestowed by the Institute on architects who have made outstanding contributions to the profession. Hornbein designed the conservatory at the Denver Botanic Gardens. Alan, who graduated from the Harvard School of Design, has participated in local noteworthy projects and assisted Cab Childress in the design of the D.U. Ritchie Center. And Bershoff, who is a principal of the Oz Company, served on Denver's planning board. Jordon Perlmutter also inherited a tradition of building for the Denver community. His father, Abe, was born in Russia in 1893 and came to the United States on his own at the age of 15. When he was 19, Abe became a journeyman mason in New York and saved enough money to bring his family to America. He moved to Denver in 1911, and in the 1920s he founded the Perlmutter Construction Company and became a prominent Denver general contractor with relative Bernard Bernstein. Among the many buildings Abe erected was the second Hebrew Educational Alliance Synagogue. He also served as president of the HEA and was an active member of B'nai B'rith for 50 years. Abe's brother Jack and his nephews Phil and Leonard Perlmutter also became involved in construction. Abe's only son Jordon became a pioneer of commercial and residential real estate development in Metro Denver beginning in 1952. A Denver native, Jordon received an athletics scholarship to DU and later served with the U.S. Coast Guard during the Korean War. After his service, Jordon returned to Colorado and co-founded Pearlmac Enterprises with his cousin, Sam Premack. Jordon's brother-in-law, Bill Morrison, later joined the firm as a partner. Over 3 decades, Pearlmac built more than 22,000 single and multifamily homes and introduced Denver to the concept of planned communities with its North Glen and South Glen developments. At one time, Pearlmac employed up to 1,000 people and became the largest home builder in Colorado and one of the largest in the country. Jordon married Essie Goldberg in 1953, and they became the parents of 4 children. When Pearlmac dissolved in 1983, Jordon, in partnership with his son Jay, formed Jordon Perlmutter and Company, which continued to focus on real estate development, leasing, and property management.
My involvement in the business goes back to when I was a teenager. I went out on my dad's jobs, and I did practically every kind of job there was. And then when I went to Arizona State Business School, we came back and worked. I came in the summers and worked for my dad, and he had some very important jobs going, and learned a lot about the real estate part of things, and became the broker for the company after I graduated business school, and had the opportunity
to really get my master's on those jobs. I considered getting a graduate degree, but my dad said, hey, this will be better.
Throughout his career, Jordon was directly involved in the development of more than 7 million square feet of retail, office, multifamily, and industrial projects. Some of his notable regional retail projects include the North Glen and South Glen Malls and Southwest Plaza. Jordon and Jay were later joined by Jordon's son-in-law, Shell Cook, and son Jonathan, and the company became involved in almost every aspect of real estate investment.
After a lot of years of doing construction labor in the summers in high school and college, and in addition doing some work in the office here and there, I made my decision to go forward and work for the company, work for the family.
So I was in the family business. My grandfather started, Lewis Cook, and his company was Lewis Cook Plumbing and Heating. And in the late 80s, I decided to make a change and went to real estate school at night with 3 young daughters at home, and really enjoyed what I was learning and made a decision to go into the real estate business. And Jordon told me that he would not have asked me, but the fact that I was already making a career change at 33 years old, he felt it was appropriate, and they had a position. And so January of 1988, I started in the family business. So I went from one family business to another.
It's truly a pleasure to work with my brother Jay and my brother-in-law Shell. We're all different people, but we learn how to work with each other, and we all get along, and we work as a team together.
We just finished a 300,000 square foot Class A office building that we joint ventured with the Hines Corporation and JP Morgan. We just sold it for a record amount, and it was 97% leased in Union Station for a corporate user office building. It's called 1601 Wewata, and it just is an amazing story.
Jordon served on the boards of numerous Denver-based organizations and was the recipient of a myriad of honors for both professional and humanitarian endeavors, and was named a Colorado Business Hall of Fame laureate in 2009. He was most proud of his fundraising of more than $14 million for the building of Shalom Park, a long-term care facility for the elderly, and the 15 years he spent as a DU trustee.
We had a wonderful working relationship. He was obviously more than a teacher, but he loved to set life examples for everybody, to the point where, not just for me, people would come off the street and just say, hey, I once met your dad. And he gave me some really, really valuable advice that I use today.
We definitely are a close-knit family. My mom, Essie, and my father, Jordon, both really set great examples for me and for my siblings. My parents were both role models for community involvement.
Jordon's close friend and colleague, Micky Miller, also helped shape the Denver landscape for well over a half a century. Micky's grandfather, Joe Miller, and his brothers, Robert Laser and Sam, emigrated from Russia to the United States in the 1880s. They began working in the mines in Pennsylvania, but after migrating to Denver in the 1890s, they went into the cattle business, and Joe started an enterprise with his sons. He and his wife Libby had 7 sons, including Micky's father, Israel, born in 1899. Israel did most of the cattle buying for the business, and as a boy, Micky sometimes accompanied his father on his cattle buying trips to Wyoming and Utah. A Denver native, Micky attended East High. He started at CSU, transferred to CU, and received his law degree from DU. Micky married Lou Ann Rosenbaum in 1952, and the couple became the parents of 4. Lou Ann's father, Judge Charles Rosenbaum, was a respected local jurist, and her mother was descended from Denver pioneers Louise and Louis Onfanger. From 1955 through 1968, Micky was in private law practice at Isaacson, Rosenbaum, and Miller, specializing in real estate and corporate and general business. In 1965, he developed the Montbello neighborhoods with his friend Jordon Perlmutter, adjacent to the city of Denver and on land which was owned by his family. Micky later formed Miller Davis Incorporated, a partnership with Marvin Davis that became Miller, Klutznick, Davis, and Gray, which developed many buildings in downtown Denver, including the Wells Fargo Tower. Micky's companies developed or owned 13 major office buildings in downtown, including the Marriott and Westin hotels, as well as 24 buildings in the Tech Center and the southeast section of Denver. Micky has helped create some of the most spectacular properties around the country as well, including the JW Marriott San Antonio Resort and Spa, the Beverly Hills Hotel, and the Algonquin Hotel in New York City. Micky has received many community philanthropic awards, was named an honorary dean of real estate by the DU College of Business, and was inducted into the Colorado Business Hall of Fame in 2011. Micky is currently co-chairman of Miller Global Properties, which has been involved in the development, management, and acquisition of over 50 million square feet of space, including apartments, high-rise offices, hotels, resorts, and industrial parks. Micky's son, Jim Miller, became involved in the business over 40 years ago. In 1993, they formed Miller Properties Group, and in the following year they joined with Philip Anschutz to form Miller Anschutz. In 1996, the two formed Miller Global Properties, and Jim currently serves as president and chief executive officer.
After college, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I actually really wanted to go into singing and acting, but I figured I'd work for my dad for a couple years to make enough money so I could move to New York or LA and not have to wait tables while I was trying to be a singer and actor. I started working for him and I enjoyed it so much and was just so fascinated by the real estate business that I've been with him ever since, and that was over 40 years ago. Of course, it's had its challenges, and sometimes it's hard to distinguish between the business relationship and the father-son relationship, but I think we both managed to do that extremely well over the years, and it's just been wonderful. And I don't think there are a lot of people who can say that they worked for their father for 40 years and have enjoyed almost every minute of it.
Micky and Jim have been involved in real estate ownership and development in over 40 cities and 6 countries. And now Jim's daughter Rachel has joined the company as well.
The other highlights has been working with my dad previously when we owned Aspen Ski Company and Pebble Beach Company and built a large building in Los Angeles called Fox Plaza, which was known as Nakatomi Tower because it was used in the movie Die Hard and blown up in that movie. And we had just moved a tenant into the ground floor. Merrill Lynch had a big brokerage office in the ground floor. And they shut down the building Friday night. And on Saturday and Sunday, they literally blew out all the windows in the ground floor. All the glass was flying everywhere in the windows, and it was crazy, and we couldn't believe they were doing this. But by 6 a.m. Monday morning, when Merrill Lynch was ready to start coming to work, the whole building was put back together, and it was okay. So the building got some good notoriety out of that film, and Fox made a lot of money from it, I think.
Denverite Al Cohen, who attended the Naval Academy in Annapolis and received a degree in mechanical engineering from Caltech, was known as a builder of consequence, who was behind a number of projects for both the Perlmutters and the Millers. His company, Al Cohen Construction, built such memorable undertakings as South Glen Mall and Inverness Office Park in Colorado, Lincoln Center in New York City, and Fox Plaza in Los Angeles. He was also a key player in the Denver community, as a supporter of National Jewish and a trustee of DU, where he influenced Daniel Ritchie to accept the role of chancellor. Howard Farkas graduated from DU and was a trained accountant when he partnered with Warner Livingston to develop Windsor Gardens, modeled after Arizona's Sun City, a retirement community that was geared to the growing number of American senior citizens.
Yes, Windsor Gardens is living, because at Windsor Gardens you enjoy the good things in life. Golfing, swimming, sharing the company of good friends and exciting activities and hobbies.
Windsor Gardens is living with more.
Later on his own, Howard developed two more stellar senior housing communities in Denver, Heather Ridge and Heather Gardens. Larry Mizel, who has become a legend in the home building industry as the chair and CEO of MDC Holdings, the parent company of Richmond American Homes, was born and raised in Oklahoma. He received a BA in Business Administration from the University of Oklahoma in 1964, and then graduated from the DU College of Law in 1967. While at DU, he used an inheritance from his grandfather Abe Mizel, who emigrated to America from Russia in 1907, to invest in his first apartment building, a 10-story structure named Medici. Since then, he has remained on the cutting edge of home development. In 1972, he founded the Mizel Development Corporation, and Richmond Homes became one of the largest home building companies in the United States. Since its inception, it has erected more than 185,000 homes. Larry and his wife Carol have also been involved in numerous philanthropic and charitable causes in Denver and across the country, including the founding of the Mizel Museum in 1982 and CEL, the Counter-Terrorist Education Learning Lab, now combined as the Mizel Institute. Larry currently serves as the International Chairman of the Board of Trustees of the Simon Wiesenthal Center, a human rights organization that promotes tolerance and combats racism and anti-Semitism worldwide. In 1996, Larry was named Honorary Dean of the DU Burns School of Real Estate and Management, and in 2016 was inducted into the Colorado Business Hall of Fame. Descended from Russian Jewish immigrants on his mother's side, Evan Makovsky's family came to Colorado in 1882 as part of the famous but short-lived Cotopaxi Jewish agricultural colony. Although the colony ultimately failed, like so many of the Cotopaxi families, the Shames family moved to Denver, where they became prominent leaders in the local Jewish and general community. Evan's father migrated to Pueblo in the 1920s to work in the steel mills, and then struck out on his own to found a furniture store, where Evan worked daily after school. Evan grew up in Pueblo, but attended college in Denver. In 1971, Evan co-founded the Shames Makovsky Realty Company with his uncle, Muddy Shames.
When we started our own business, obviously we had no customers. We were beginning. I was out on the street knocking on doors of every little businessman that would let me in the door. My uncle was really the in-house, organized the company. The big real estate companies wouldn't pay any attention to him, but I was looking for anything. And I got to be pretty good at helping the small businesses relocate, either through purchasing or through leasing a little warehouse or little building. As we are coming up, really not too far away from a 50th anniversary of the company, which I am quite proud of. I'm very happy about the roots that my uncle gave to the company. I've been in charge for a number of years, and our daughter Dorit Fisher joined the company about 16 years ago, and it's very clear she's doing one of the top producers in the city, and we are looking forward to her continuing on the company in years to come.
Evan is perhaps best known for his pivotal role in the revitalization of downtown Denver. Although it took over a decade, he completed the purchase of a group of vacant, rundown properties between California and Welton Streets and 15th and 16th Street, creating a vibrant gateway to the city. Evan has sold, leased, or developed many important projects, which include the historic Colorado Business Bank building and the Sage building, and was a significant partner in the Union Station revitalization. Evan has been involved in many Jewish and general community philanthropic projects. In recognition of his many significant business achievements, in 2007 he was named an Honorary Dean of Real Estate and Construction Management at the DU School of Business. And in 2015, the CU Business School presented Evan with the first Daniels Ethical Leader of the Year Award. In 2019, he was named to the Colorado Business Hall of Fame. Russian-Jewish immigrant Jake Cooper started the Cooper Heating Company in Denver in the early 1950s. His son Mike worked in his father's business while in high school and joined the Army when he was 18. When he returned from his tour of duty, Mike and his friend Harvey Alpert decided they wanted to go into the construction business. When the bank refused to give the young men a loan to build their first house in Hilltop, Mike's father guaranteed the note. In the 1960s, Mike and Harvey founded Golden Key Homes, which built thousands of homes until it closed in 2006. Although Mike and Harvey eventually split their Golden Key partnership, they continued to buy land around Denver together and separately. And Harvey founded Alpert Homes with his brothers, and they developed a number of significant planned communities, such as Highlands Ranch and Cherry Hills Farms. Today, Harvey works with a new generation, including his children Scott and Tanya, and nephews Jonathan Alpert and Matt Joblin. Mike Cooper went on to build a number of signature Denver shopping centers, such as Tiffany Plaza, and he partnered with Jordon Perlmutter on the Southwest Plaza and Bowles Crossing projects. Sadly, Mike's career was cut short by illness, but today a new generation of Coopers continues to invest in numerous land, multifamily, and commercial projects throughout Metro Denver and in Arizona. And Mike's son, Mark, serves as the president of Cooper Development. Gary Antonoff developed multiple properties across the Denver area. He was born in Waukon, Iowa, where his family members were the only Jews in the small town. The Antonoff family moved to Denver in 1949 when Gary's father became involved in real estate. Gary graduated from East High and then attended CU in Boulder. By 1967, he opened his own business, Antonoff & Company. It owned and managed properties near the Cherry Creek Shopping Center, downtown Denver, and across the United States. To fulfill his vision of Denver as becoming a major urban center, Antonoff also chaired the committee that raised funds for the annexation of land for the Denver International Airport and for the construction of Coors Field. He also served on the Colorado Baseball Commission, and in the 1970s, he helped purchase the Denver Nuggets with local ownership and served as the chair of the Nuggets board. The late Robert Loup began his development career in the early 1950s with a $1,500 investment from his savings and an $8,500 bank loan when he helped found the Keller Loup Construction Company, where he served as president. In 1964, Bob launched a new construction company, Loup Miller, with his friend Paul Miller. The two developed the popular Marina Square and the Union Tower office building in Lakewood before the economic downturn in the mid-1980s put a brake on local development. Then they built apartment developments in Florida, Chicago, and Arizona. Bob later made a local comeback when he was joined by his son Jim, who at the age of 13 started to work summer jobs for his dad. They concentrated on custom Denver residential single and multifamily construction and development, and major apartment construction in Boulder. Loup development thrived in the 1990s and continues to do so today under Jim's leadership. Bob was known as a national and international philanthropist in the Jewish community. He served as president of the Allied Jewish Federation of Colorado and the Jewish Community Center, which was named in his honor. Gerald Hines became one of the foremost real estate entrepreneurs in America and built widely in Denver and Houston. His son Trevor, exposed to development from a very early age and worked for his father's firm in several occasions, now oversees deal sourcing and business strategy for the new Nava Development Company in Denver. Micky Zeppelin, a Denver native who graduated from Berkeley Law School and practiced law for 7 years before turning full-time to real estate, has been a driving force in Denver development for decades. He founded Zeppelin Development in the late 1980s, propelled by a vision of promoting urban values to build community.
Got really involved in the city politics and basically building the neighborhood. But the concept always was building community, and became head of the lower downtown property group and bought property there. Then from there went to the Golden Triangle, and again kind of became head of that community and really built community with the people in the city.
Along with his son Kyle, also a law school graduate, Micky is credited with some of the first modern, innovative projects in Lower Downtown and the River North District, and he and Kyle have been major players in the development of Lodo, the Golden Triangle, and more recently Rhino and Taxi.
The driving force for the projects has really, which was handed down from Micky, has really always been building projects around people and not in a vacuum or based on a formula. It's really about all the companies and people that are going to occupy the buildings, which keeps us very grounded and focused, and explains just the success of the projects and some of the things that are different about them.
Micky and Kyle have also creatively developed the Source Market Hall and Source Hotel, as well as Zeppelin Station, a retail and office development which opened in 2017 with a multicultural food court. They've also spearheaded a number of affordable housing projects, all driven by a goal that emphasizes catering to what people need.
So my father, Micky, really did have a major impact on the landscape of Denver, neighborhoods that are really fundamental to the success of the city, urban neighborhoods that are now signature neighborhoods that help define Denver.
Denver's skyline has changed radically from 1859, but for generations, Jewish Coloradans have been centrally involved in shaping the landscape and transforming the face of the mile-high city.